What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thrift here. Today I'm going to be going through the October 16th update that we had. This was a gigantic update, so if any of you are getting back into WAVEN, I am going to be doing a quick TLDR of my full review, which was over an hour and a half long. I do have a link to that video if you wish to see all of my thoughts over everything that was updated, and it is extensively timestamped if you are only curious about some things. Other than that, I will be breaking down some of the big winners, big losers, and some of my personal thoughts about some changes in this video in a much more compact version. Before anything, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It would really mean a bunch to me as we continue to make WAVEN content on the channel. So first things first, on October 24th, there will be new chests from a new location, the Albera Island, that will include equipment, spells, and companions. This should change up a lot of our current metagame that we are experiencing. We don't have any other information at this time. However, on Wednesday, we will see what is new, and hopefully it does spice up the game for all of us players in early access. Secondly, the Cabrock shop has been changed and now only has chests available. This is not the location to go and get runes for your equipment, companions, and spells. Now, whenever you complete a dungeon or a monarch fight using brooches, you're going to be given a set amount of runes in one of those three types, which is random. So it is less consistent nowadays, since you're not just getting the fragments and exchanging for the exact type of rune you want. With that said, it does feel like the rune drops are pretty high per dungeon clear and monarch fight, so it isn't like it's a huge loss, but yes, it is technically less consistent than what we have experienced in the past. You can also collect 100 Wakfu fragments daily on each server in the shop, so then these can be used at the Cabrock shop to buy chests. By far the biggest winner of the class updates is Sram's, specifically the Shugen Flare character. Shugen Flare got a huge buff to their hero skill, Shugen Astral, which is increasing the damage dealt to an enemy when you apply Astral from 75% to 250%. This is allowing a lot of Shugen players to be hitting 600, 700, even 800 damage to some enemies when they apply the Astral State. The only drawback is that Shugen cannot apply their hero skill during other allies' turns. So, example, you couldn't have another player apply Astral to an enemy and trigger Shugen Flare's extra attack from that Shugen Astral hero skill. With that said, it just takes a little bit of communication with your teammates to let them know to apply one elemental state, so when it comes to your turn, you can very easily apply another elemental state to multiple enemies and trigger your 250% attack to those enemies when you apply Astral. Brutal Fairblade is another big winner. They technically did get a nerf with the change to Fairblade Master, reducing the armor generation per trigger of melee. However, with the upgrade to the Bash Ring, this is giving 200% of your attack as armor at the beginning of the fight, allowing this class to be online turn one and have a much better time throughout the entirety of a fight, since you're not struggling to begin generating armor. You already have a fat stack of armor at the beginning. This is going to pair very well with all of the other hero skills that Fairblade has to offer. Premium Catalyst also got a nice change to their hero skills, making both Companion and now Sinistro builds very effective. Companion Premium builds will still go Premium Recycling and Premium Motivation hero skills. However, you now get gauge generation when you spawn a Sinistro, rather than needing those Sinistros to be destroyed to earn your gauge, allowing for a more consistent gauge generation, which is going to result in more consistent companion summoning. The other skill, Premium Motivation, now gives companions 20% health on spawn, alongside that ability to use the Activate spell to allow for those companions to have another action. And now you can utilize Sinistros for some of the other hero skills, such as Premium Sequence, which will give you extra plating when you build a Sinistro, and Premium Revenge to allow for quick Sinistro transformations when you summon a companion. If you wanted to go a Sinistro build, You pair this with the buffs on Stormy Ring to get another 100+% to the plating of that Sinistro, and follow that up with adding the class skill cog to your deck, and now your Sinistros can dish out a ton of AoE damage while also tanking hits for you, which will keep you safe. Some of the classes that really lost out with this update is definitely Blunderbuss. The preferred hero skill combination of Blunderbuss Master and Precision has undergone considerable nerfs. Blunderbuss Master has lost all of the additional Dart Aura damage bonus, and Blunderbuss Precision lost 30% Aura damage. So the amount of damage your darts are doing is considerably less for the most preferred build for Blunderbuss. This class is still really strong. It's just not going to be one-turning really high-level content anymore. There were small buffs given to the other two hero skills, but I still expect most Blunderbuss players to stay with Blunderbuss Master and Blunderbuss Precision even after these nerfs. Voracious Blade took a pretty big nerf to the face. The change from 1% to 3% health being converted to attack does provide more stat conversion. However, they did fix something with Voracious Blade where all of this attack bonus was also being applied to any equipment or spells that modify attack at the beginning of fight or start of turn. You're not getting this bonus anymore. This makes for potentially hundreds of attack loss for some endgame players with maxed gear. Technically, this is a loss moving forward, but you're still a great class that has high attack, can build massive health, and has a ton of drain for survivability. Boulevard Auroch got nerfed because not enough people were playing the push build, which is a questionable way to balance a class. Boulevard was definitely not overpowered or in need of any sort of balancing, at least in my opinion. But unfortunately, Ankama really did want the collision build of Auroch to be more popular, so they buffed the damage for the hero skill that increases your collision damage based on how much attack you have. And they did do some nerfs to the traditional AoE Auroch build. And on that same note, Ken Kartana also caught those same nerfs. They slightly reduced the damage that Ken Kartana does when they activate a trap to do AoE damage around them based on their attack. They nerfed that a little bit, and then on the flip side, they increased the collision damage that is converted from their attack. So yes, Ken Kartana has a stronger collision build now, but once again, it really wasn't necessary to even do any sort of nerf to the other build Kartana had. And onto a couple classes that had some notable changes. Amurai Blade. This is a really interesting class now, becoming one of the best support classes in the game with the ability to have their traps triggered by allies. And when that happens, this is going to heal both you and that ally. You can pair this with multiple other hero skills, something like Amurai Over Vitality, which will allow you to deal some damage while also being able to provide healing for your team with that Amurai support hero skill. You also have the capability to go full support with the hero skill Amurai Collective, which will provide extra attack to all allies when you are healed. One of the most important rings to Amurai Blade builds will now be Spiral Ring, since it does have a rune upgrade, which will allow you to heal yourself a second time as long as an ally is healed, which means when an ally activates a trap, you're healing yourself, you're healing that ally, and Spiral Ring is kicking in again to heal yourself a second time. This is going to trigger Amurai Over Vitality twice, or if you have Amurai Collective, it'll trigger that a second time to give even more attack to your allies. Now on to the equipment winners and losers. First up, I have the Scammer Armband. I think this armband is amazing now that it can hit an additional 2 cells, and it also has 60% critical damage in rune upgrades. I see this as a potential armband for classes that can attack multiple times, like Flamboyant Kasai with their hero skill Kasai attack, or classes that can specialize in manipulating the field, such as many Sram classes. You can very easily push those enemies into position, and with the Scammer Armband, hit multiple enemies with one strike. This is also a common armband, making it cheap and easy to find and upgrade. I've been using it with Shuriken Shiv, and I'm definitely enjoying the ability to manipulate enemies around traps, plus get the full use out of my armband to do as much damage as possible. by far the most overpowered update is to the Olympic ring. This ring now gives 5% attack to your companions for each gauge generated for the whole battle, and this has no cap, no limit. You can further improve this to 10% attack per gauge with some rune upgrades. The two best companion classes in the game, that being Kokoro Brush and Premium Catalyst, they can very easily reach 8 or more gauge by turn 2, turn 3, which means you're summoning some of the strongest legendary companions we have in the game with at least 80% extra attack. And this will continue to climb as you continue using spells and generating gauge. It is quite a spectacle to see companions stronger than any player in the actual fight. And onto some losers in the equipment section, the health steal rings, that being Horizon, Horoscope, Amortson, and Otaku ring. They don't health steal the full damage dealt when you apply rain, lightning, rock, or flame. Now it is a flat amount that is healed. This can scale with the amount of spell damage that you have. I've heard from some endgame players, they're getting around 50, maybe even 60 health regen per application of that status. But this pales in comparison to how much some classes and characters were healing before this nerf. I'm very curious as to how many builds are severely affected by this change to these rings. And next, we had a lot of changes to the companions. Ankama did a massive gut to a lot of very favorable companions. So there's no winners in this update. As for the losers, though, I will mention first and foremost the 5 gauge element companions, that being Amalia, Baccarat, Ush, and Count Herborg. They lost one of their most important abilities, which was when they attack, they would reduce the cost of their type of element by 1 AP. That is no longer a thing. It is now replaced with an ability that will give that companion 30% physical and magical protection. This is a huge hit to any solo element builds out there. Now that we don't have that AP reduction per attack anymore, it's going to make those elemental builds have to survive a lot longer to be able to get their use out of this companion. The next loser are the 2 gauge birds, that being Yaki, Tika, Delta, and Caesar. They all lost their rune upgrade effects. For example, the reserve AP, drawing a card, applying shield to hero. These are now just very cheap meat shield companions. This is extremely unfortunate if you were a build that didn't rely on companions, since these were very easy to just get a small bonus. Now that we don't have that, you really have to decide on either keeping these 2 gauge birds in your build or look into 3 gauge or 4 gauge cost cards to try to get a similar effect. And a notable change that happened, it's not the end of the world. However, the 4 gauge birds, that being Caesar, Terry, Pris, Palumba, and Susie, they all lost the rune upgrade for a 2% super equipment chest chance. This is unfortunate. These were the only companions that had super equipment chest chance, which made these birds the best for endgame farming for chests and equipment. Now that we don't have these birds with the equipment, super equipment chest, your best choice now for farming is to use the 2 gauge birds, since they still have 2% companion chest chances. Overall, companion builds definitely got buffed here. The Olympic ring was a massive buff. There was a bug fix to the spiritual armband, and general improvements to both Kokoro Brush and Premium Catalyst make these already great builds even better. These will continue to be the strongest builds even after potential balancing of that Olympic ring. By far the biggest losers are single element builds. There were some really awful nerfs via the health ring, health steal ring, and the 5 gauge companion changes. It'll be interesting to see what single element builds out there can survive solo content at level 100 or higher now, because health steal was really important, but those 5-drop companions made for very valuable turns to survive that content. And a notable change, I don't know if it is good or not, there was a bunch of changes to collision. There was a reduction from 4 collision damage to 3 as a generic change to all builds. However, a lot of gear and some classes did see improvements to the percentage of collision damage they can do. I would expect all builds that have a way to improve collision damage outside of just equipment alone to be stronger. I'll have to wait and see some actual video footage of that. But that is a notable change that did happen on this recent update. That's going to wrap it up for this TLDR of the patch notes. Don't forget to watch the full video if you would like to see all of my insight for everything that did get updated. And don't forget that on the 24th, which is most likely when this video will drop, there is going to be that update with new equipment, spells, and companions. I may be live on the 24th. I will definitely be live on the 25th, hopefully on YouTube as well. So if you're watching this video, you might be able to catch me live on YouTube or Twitch. Thanks again, everybody, for the love and support. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video real soon.